Hello everyone, this is Michelle. In today's video, I will be evaluating the influence men have in the dating world based on their professions. My aim is to provide insight into how these careers impact a man's value in the dating landscape. For this ranking, I will be using a tier system that consists of 5 distinct levels. The first level is G tier, which stands for God forbid. This is the lowest tier on my ranking. Professions fall into this category evoke a strong aversion from women. This means that women believe that those roles possesses qualities that are generally unattractive and undesirable to them. Second, we have C tier, which stands for Come on, man. This tier signifies a lack of appreciation for certain professions, while does not mean that the women believe that they are completely undesirable. Only signifies that women believe that they have potential, but they are not setting the bar really high for those men. 3, we have B tier, which stands for believable. Here we find professions that suggest a glimmer of hope for men to be considered high value. Although the chances are slim, there is still potential worth acknowledging. 4, we have A tier, which stands for admired. This tier represents professions that women generally consider admirable. Men in these roles tend to be viewed positively by many women, suggesting that they possess traits that are genuinely appealing. While they may not be resonate with every woman, they certainly have a strong chance of being seen as high valuable men. 5, we have S tier, which stands for sanctified. This is the highest tier in my ranking, and this category includes professions that earn women's utmost respect and admiration. Many in these roles embody qualities that women believe are incredibly attractive. Let's get started with the firefighter. Firefighters are men of strong willpower, courage, and identity, and they fully embody the archetype of the hero, which makes them highly attractive to women. That's why firefighters fall into the category of A tier, which stands for admirable. Second, we have plumbers. Plumbers are masculine men who can fix problems, and depending on your situation on that exact moment in time, they can sometimes even save the day. That's why plumbers fall into the category of C tier, which stands for Come on, man. Then we have writers. Writers are men who can think deeply and who can make an argument and who can defend an argument with logic and reason. That's why they are considered as high valuable for women. And what writers on this category fall into the B tier, which is believable because you cannot make a correct assessment into a man's capacity and potential just based on the fact that he is a writer. He could be a bad writer, he could be a lucky writer, or he just could be a business owner trying to potentialize his business. So we cannot say exactly what is his level of competence just by knowing that he's a writer. So that's why he falls into the B tier, believable. Then we have politicians who are men of strong persuasion power, highly charming, and men who have mastered the skill of public speaking becomes highly desirable to women. They are also never assuming the real intentions behind of seeking politics as a career, which most of the time it's the quest for power, and those men tend to be narcissistic, hard-headed, difficult to speak with. They tend to be selfish and they don't spend money on women. They are highly cheap and stingy with money, so women don't like the way their motivations behind their quest for power, so they fall into the category of G tier, which is God forbid. So we have the bartender, which is the male version of our cheerleader. Everyone at the bar is usually seeking for the attention of the bartender, and bartenders tend to make money out of tips because they are usually having levels of social skills, and that's why women find them very attractive. They tend to be funny, and they tend to give it an idea that they're gonna offer a great time to women. So bartenders get to a C tier, which is, come on, man. Have the waiter. The waiter is not necessarily, but usually, a handsome, good-looking man who makes most of his money out of tips, and women like them because they are usually elegant, polished, and clean. That's why waiters fall into the category of C tier, which stands for come on, man. Second, we have farmers. Farmers are men who have a strong willpower. They wake up very early and start working, and they only stop working when the sun goes down. I know that because I grew up in a farm, and those men are hardworking men, and they are not scared of anything or of anyone. They are adventurous, courageous, and they are high valuable because they are not scared if a squirrel falls on top of their shoulders or if a cat attacks them. They will not scream. And there is nothing more unattractive than a man throwing a temper tantrum because he saw a snake. That's why farmers fall into the category of S tier, which is sanctified, the highest tier. And then we have telemarketers. Telemarketers are men who take orders and who stay inside for a long time without going out on the sun. And they are usually men with emotional control. That's why they fall into the category of C tier, which is come on, man. Then we have comedians. Comedians are men who make jokes for a living and make people laugh or make people think critically. That's why they are on the edge always of losing their jobs, of saying something wrong or provoking certain kind of idea that will challenge the norm, and that's it's dangerous job to have if you have a family to provide for. Comedians as well are men who don't take life so serious, and that's why women find them undesirable because they women would rather be with a man who is very serious about life and understands how to live in a way that makes her life more safe. Comedians cannot do this, so that's why they fall into the G tier, which is God forbid. And then next we have bouncers. Bouncers are usually tall, big men who get jobs, easy jobs that don't require nothing to do besides of standing on your feet for a long time and receiving a very small amount of money for it. A lot of bouncers use their jobs only to stare at women's butt, and they don't have a place or they don't have any desire to protect or to do anything. If something ever happens, they will not do anything, and they are so just there for the money. So that's why bouncers, women cannot count on them for protection or anything, and they go to the category of G tier, which is God forbid. And then pilots are men who have mastered a skill set that allows them to fly a plane and to become someone who can do something extraordinary, such as knowing how to operate a very complex machine, which is the airplane. And a man like that have to go to school and have to go through a preparation, and he has to be knowledgeable and at least have some level of IQ that needs to be at least a little bit high. As well, he's always clean, and he always was working sometimes when everybody is sleeping. He's a hard worker man, and that's why he falls into the category of A tier, which stands for admirable. Next, we have interior designers. Interior designers are high valuable to women because they are like birds, very artistic in understanding of their environment, in understanding how people think and feel about themselves in certain kind of environments. A man like that, it is like a bird. It is romantic. He is practical, but at the same time, imaginative and super smart. As well, being with an interior designer gives you that kind of ability to think of yourself as also high valuable too. So their class and their elegance trickles down to the women that they are dating. That's why women rate those men into the S tier, which means sanctified. This is the highest tier. And yes, the interior designer falls into the S tier. Then we have fashion designers who are the epitome of elegance. Imagine how amazing it would be to be the wife of Valentino or the wife of Louis Vuitton or Christian Louboutin. They are considered high in conscientious and they are definitely S tier, which is sanctified. Next, we have college professors. College professors are stubborn, hard headed. They usually have strong opinions and ideas, and they are usually not so well compensated for the amazing job that they do. Sometimes they are upset because they cannot live in a world where there is so much injustice and so much people suffering, but that does not make them desirable partners because they are not easy or nice to be around. College professors don't make a lot of money, unfortunately. That's why they fall into the category of G tier, which stands for God forbid. And then next we have teacher. A teacher that teaches middle school or kindergarten, it's considered so romantic and so nice and happy and deep and sensitive. Women love the qualities, those kind of qualities, especially when a man loves children. That's why teachers fall into the category of A tier, which stands for admired. Next, we have photographers. A lot of photographers are creeps. They are getting paid to do a certain job that requires them to be next to a lot of women, and a lot of them are weirdos, and some women find them valuable because they are sex workers, OnlyFans girls, IG models. Those kind of women usually date mate photographers just so they can have him taking their pictures and scaling their businesses. But that's the only valuable they provide. Usually and normally a photographer, especially one that is not highly paid and sought after, is nothing but a creep that possibly is into all kinds of movies in the internet that requires the access of technology. They fall into the category of G tier, which is come on, man. Next, we have coaches. Nowadays, most people have to become coaches to scale their businesses. There's no other way. If you want to be successful, you must be coaching people on your business. This has been the norm for a long time, actually. And most coaches don't make that much money. They are just business owners who are trying to scale their business. And a lot of them, if they're not famous, they usually don't make a lot of money. But they do have qualities that women find unattractive, because coaches are kind of controlling, bossy, and they usually have all of the problems that they try to coach people for. For example, if there is an addiction coach, he usually tries to coach people about a problem that he has battling and he is battling right now himself. So coaches fall into the category of B tier, which stands for believable. And now we have personal trainers. Personal trainers are often out of shape and obese, and they do not look like they work out. Especially here in the United States, coaches don't have even the appearance or the mindset of a personal trainer. A lot of women, though, here in the United States are also obese and out of shape. Then they tend to view a personal trainer as someone that they look up to, but it's only because women themselves are out of shape and obese. But for the women that don't understand how actually work out and have never been to a gym in their lives, they find personal trainers very sexy. They don't see them as chubby or fat, so those women would possibly rate personal trainer as a C tier, which is come on, man. Next, we have militaries. Militaries are good customers. They spend money easily and they are easy people to talk to. They are always in a good mood, always happy. And militaries are as well embodying this idea of a hero and this identity is very appealing to women, as women love to be with someone that they feel safe with. So militaries fall into the category of A tier. Then next we have police officers. Police officers get a bad reputation amongst everybody, and women as well, just much as men. Whenever they see a police officer, they don't feel safe. They don't feel like the police officer will help them or will do anything good for them. They feel threatened. So that's why police officers fall into the category of G tier, which means God forbid. Next, we have nurse. A male nurse is rare. Whenever they are straight is rare. Most male nurses are gay, but the ones who are not gay, sometimes they could be sought after by women only because of the fact that they provide the service and they like to nourish and they at some point likes to take care of. Women like to be taken care of. So that's why nurses fall into the category TB, which stands for believable. B tier, believable. Now we have the next one, which is civil engineer. Civil engineers make good money and it requires them a skill set. It requires them preparation, study, and knowledge, sometimes for many years until they can achieve the ability to do their jobs. It requires commitment and it requires consistency. Women enjoy those qualities in men as well. They like a practical man that can build things and that can make dreams come true. That's why civil engineers fall into the category of A tier, which stands for admired. Next, we have musicians. Musicians, there are many kinds of musicians, but the ones that women feel most attracted to are the famous and wealthy. And those are not very many in the world. Most musicians are making only enough money to provide for themselves. And I do believe that they would possibly be able to provide for a family too, even if he's not famous. But that's not what happens in most cases. So musicians, they are romantic sensitive, but they do fall into the category of B tier, which stands for believable. Then we have therapists. Therapists are men who have to go through a training to become a therapist, and this training sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like he had to read nice books such as Nietzsche, such as Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, all of the nicest books. It does not sound like he had to do a lot of sacrifice to become a therapist. Neither he had to study for such a long time to become a therapist. So because this profession doesn't require being a lot of sacrifice, therapist falls into the category of C tier, which stands for come on man. Then we have dentists. Dentists are doctors and they have a big ego. A lot of them are narcissists. They sometimes don't like going to work, as most doctors don't like working. And he also provokes a lot of fear in people because most people don't like going to the dentist. The dentist provokes fear and women don't like to feel scared. That's why dentist falls into the category of C tier, which is come on man. Next we have YouTubers. YouTubers are people who makes money out of other entertaining, other providing information or knowledge, and the value of a YouTuber it's only of what they can provide, which other is entertainment or which other is knowledge. When a YouTuber provides in any of those things and he's successful at providing it, he or she makes money out of it. And but besides of what a YouTuber can provide, there is no value in them whatsoever. Most people don't ask photographs from a YouTuber. It does not mean a lot to be a YouTube celebrity, only among few people who think they are so cool. But most individuals, if they saw a YouTuber on the streets, they will just pass by and pretend like nothing happened. They never seen this person before. And YouTubers, some of them don't make a lot of money, and the fact that they are YouTubers do not add anything to their dating value whatsoever. So YouTubers goes to a C tier, which is come on man. Then we have TikTok affiliate. Some people enjoy being fans of TikTokers, but most individuals don't care about TikTokers. They only seek for TikTokers for the same reason that they seek for YouTubers, either for entertainment, either for a certain kind of information that they are seeking. But TikTokers, especially TikTok affiliates, if they don't make money, if they are not super wealthy, that's not gonna help them. Being a TikToker does not increase anybody's value unless they are very good looking, which does not have to do with TikTok. It would more have to do with the way they look outside of TikTok. So TikTok affiliates get a C tier, which is come on, man. Then we have finance. Finance guys are everywhere. For some reason, men love this profession and they are never clear exactly what they do. A lot of finance guys are unemployed. A lot of them are seeking for someone to give them some money so they can do something with someone's money. I myself have been scammed by a guy who said he was in finance. Probably he wasn't. Probably he was just lying. Probably he haven't even completed high school, but he was just saying he was in finance. But it was happened before, and I have never seen a finance guy to be successful at anything, especially financially. And finance guys get a B tier, which is believable. Then it comes business owners. Business owners are highly desirable for women because they don't take shit from nobody. Those business owners don't have to ask permission to go to the bathroom. They don't have a boss to respond to. They have their customers that they have a responsibility to serve and to provide service, but that's the only thing that they have to do. Women love men who are completely independent and men who does not have to respond to another man. A man who is not underneath another man is highly valuable. This is the case for business owners. They don't have they don't own responsibility, they don't own explanation to another man or woman, and that makes business owners extremely desirable. Besides of the fact that they also make a lot of money. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. That's why business owners falls into the S tier, which is sanctified, the highest tier. Then we have the next one is day traders. Day traders, some of the times, most of the times, are nothing but rats that try to take a little piece of the money of the stock market on their own. Sometimes, which is very rare, they can be very good at it, but most day traders don't even make $200 a day. Bitcoin traders, fart coin traders, penny stocks, swing, any kind of trading. Most men are not being very successful at it, and a lot of them like to say that they are day traders just because they believe it's going to increase their value. But I have been scammed many times by day traders once I decided to copy trade a guy, and I fall into various scams. Every time when someone tell me that they are day trading, I already know, not know, but I have almost certainty that they are scammers. And scammers, on the internet try to get into your personal account and information. I don't think that this is a profession that women, if a woman understands a little bit of the stock market, day trading, it's not a profession that would spark the eyes of a educated woman. Maybe a woman who doesn't understand the business, but for a uneducated woman, possibly a day trader has a value for them. But day traders fall in the category of C tier, which is come on, man. And then we have UFC fighters. A lot of women love the body of a UFC fighter because UFC fighters have the best looking bodies. They are not skinny and not too fat. They just, most of the times, they have the just right amount of fat that women look for, and they are also good looking men. However, a lot of women would not consider dating a UFC fighter or marrying a UFC fighter because of the horrors that would come with it. For example, imagine you've been a housewife and then your husband coming home with a broken head, with no teeth, and how that image would be traumatizing to children. And the last thing that most women want is more trauma because a lot of women have been through a lot of trauma and violence. And the last thing that they want is to poison their future generations with more horrors and images that traumatizes and then shocks children. So UFC fighters fall into the category of B tier, which is believable. Then we have athletes. Athletes is a short-lived career, and most men only work as an athlete for 10, 15 years most of the time. The rest of his life, he's not going to do anything. He's not going to have a job. If he's smart, he's going to use that money and invest it and never need to work a day in their lives. Women like athletes because athletes have a really nice body, and as well athletes embody qualities that women find attractive, such as courage, such as being active, strong, fast, being athletic. Women like that. So that's why athletes fall into the category of A tier, which stands for admired. Then we have handyman. Handymen are very practical men who can solve problems, and their services are useful to society. And women would like to be with a handyman because he embodies qualities that they find attractive, such as being useful, at least for other people if it's not for them. Handyman um, fall into the category of C tier, which stands for come on, man. Then we have brokers. There's only a few brokers, real brokers, left in the world today. Most people who used to be brokers in the past are no longer brokers, and there is also not much of a need for brokers anymore since people now can place their own trades themselves, since now a lot of people can do a lot of things on their own without needing a license. And the brokers now, if they continue in this profession, they probably have a business, they probably have a financial company, they probably have um, other kind of businesses that allows them to exercise a profession as a broker, but they are usually highly educated, the ones who were left after this change. They are highly educated. So that's why brokers fall into the category of B tier, which is believable. Then we have lawyers. Lawyers are men who are protectors, at least for women. It seems to women that a lawyer would have their back, that a lawyer would not let other people take advantage of them or mess with them, and they feel as if they had someone on their side. That's why lawyers are appealing to women because of this kind of hero archetype, and that's why lawyers fall into the A tier, which stands for admired. Then we have FBI agent. FBI agent is a profession that women find desirable because it is a man who is highly logical, observative, a deep thinker, and have qualities that are considered a high level, such as being courageous, not fearful, and being very curious. That's why they are interesting people to talk to, and women love those kind of qualities in men. That's why FBI agents fall into the category of A tier, which stands for admired. Bankers have a manual job that requires a very small amount of skill and preparation. However, he dresses and he poses as someone that possesses knowledge and that it is highly needed, which is not the case. Most people now do their banking themselves. So bankers fall into the category of C tier. Then we have managers. Managers are men who have other men working for them, underneath them, or behind them. This is what makes managers attractive to women, is the fact that managers are above a lot of other men, and that makes the sparkle for women to be strong. Managers stand in the category of B tier, which stands for believable. Then we have diplomats. Diplomats are men who at least have to speak three languages, and they have to be smart, and they have to be good in social skills. They have to have the ability to charm a room, as well as being very smart and academic at the same time. They cannot be weirdos. They have to have high levels of self-awareness, and they are always have to dress nice, and they have image to keep up with. So when a woman date mate a diplomat, she knows that there is a certain level of elegance and also a certain level of being professional that is always going to be in a relationship, and that makes women respect and honor and cherish the relationship more as they find the relationship official and elegant and also formal at the same time. That makes diplomats fall into S tier, which stands for sanctified, the highest tier. Then we have landlords. Landlords are men who don't understand money. They sometimes have a huge net worth, 20 millions or more worth in houses, but from those 20 millions dollars of worth of houses, they only make sometimes between 10 to 30 to 50,000 a month. And for someone that have a net worth of $20 million to make only 30 or 50,000 dollars a month is a complete joke. A lot of landlords, the reason why they don't make as much money as they should make it is because they don't understand money. And they also are men who are hardahologists and men who believe, have certain kind of beliefs that money needs to be difficult, and they are also scared. They are not the kind of men who takes risks, so that's why they find the having houses and collecting rent as a safe net. Women don't find that scared men attractive, and either they find dumb men attractive, which is super dumb to have a net worth that high and make such a small amount of money every month. Besides of the fact that they are also lazy, they don't want to work a real job, so they just collect the rent. So they fall into the category of G tier, which is God forbid. Then we have artists. Artists are sensitive, smart men who gives women who are dating and mating artists a level of elegance and class. As well, an artist appears to be someone who is attuned to her feelings and who understands communication and who is very romantic. Those qualities are appealing to women. That's why artists follow in the category of A tier, which stands for admired. Then we have next stripper. Male strippers are men who earns their living by doing making a service, providing a service that women enjoy, which is being seduced. Some women enjoy being seduced, but most women, if they were to live in the real world, being seduced and being dominated is not natural to women. What a male stripper is, he dominates women through his sexual power. Women in their natural state are not to be dominated out of lust, and a woman who is dominated based on the lust that she feels for a man will never truly feel right, do never truly feel like that there's always going to be something wrong, and she was never going to understand what is really going wrong in her life. So a woman who accepts and who enjoys being sexually dominated by a handsome man will never be truly happy. And that's why a woman that is says healthy and thoughtful and conscious, she would never date or fall in love with a man that could potentially control her through lust. That's why strippers get a G tier, which stands for God forbid. Pastors have a high appeal among women who are low in conscientious. You know when a woman is low in conscientious when she doesn't think for herself and doesn't have a personality. In this case, those women tend to worship and cherish and follow without questioning. Those kind of women enjoy being with a pastor, but most women who are high in conscientious and smart women, educated women, would never. First, pastors are controlling, narcissistic, and they are not generous. They are very stingy and cheap, and they don't offer a good lifestyle. Pastors falls into G tier, which stands for God forbid, never. Then we have doctors. Doctors are men who dreamed about becoming a very wealthy man, and they decided at an early age that becoming a doctor was the route to go, that they were going to become very wealthy. But reality crushed them as they became doctors. They didn't make as much money as they thought that they would become rich, and they hate their jobs because they only did it for the money. They hate working because they were very lazy, because a lot of doctors, at least me, I have never met one doctor that came from poverty. All of them came at least from upper middle class or middle class. I have never ever in my life have met, seen a doctor that weren't privileged. So they are always lazy, they don't like working, and they hate their jobs. If it was for them, they would never do any kind of work. Some women find them attractive because they have still have that title of a doctor. For me, I know better. Have dated plenty of doctors. Know that they are not generous. A lot of them are stingy, and a lot of them, including our landlords too, because they don't like to work and they don't understand money, so they become landlords because they make a lot of money and they don't know what to do with it, so they make stupid decisions to, for example, becoming a landlord, and lazy decisions. So those doctors, some women find them attractive. I don't know why. I They fall into the category of B tier because as undesirable as they are, as hateful and lazy as they are, they still there's women who finds that being with a doctor is a flex. For me, if it was for me, I would put them in G tier, which is God forbid, knowing that all of them are stingy. So I would just put them in G tier. But most women don't would not think that, so I put them in the B tier, which is believable. Then we have truck drivers. Truck drivers embody qualities such as adventurous and daring, and as well, truck drivers are usually working when everybody is resting. They are very needed to society. They provide a very important service, and that's why they follow into the category of B tier, which is believable. And then we have construction workers. Construction workers are highly desirable for women because they are not scared to work. They make and they provide the most difficult kind of jobs that nobody wants to do. They work really hard. They have those strong hands, very big hands, calluses hands. They are hardworking men. They are men who get the job done, and women find them desirable because they embody qualities of courage, qualities of being someone who is willing to do a kind of job that is very dangerous, and a lot of women like them. That's why they fall into the category of A tier, which is admired. I have so many other professions that I would like to rate, but I would like to make a second part for this video, especially for certain kind of professions that are not well known. Let me know what you think first. If this video gets people talking, I will do a second part. If not, it was a pleasure to make this video. I had a great time. Thank you guys for watching. Click like, click share, and also subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.